In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about the rise of the divine feminine and the lovely witchiness of all of us. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you could join in. And to those of you coming back, thank you for your support. I hope that you have been enjoying the return into the next season of our year 2020. We are coming into the beauty of autumn. And as my daughter would say, it's almost winter. Yay! Today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that seems pretty fitting to the October month that is about here, and Halloween, which many of you may or may not be celebrating because of COVID. I really hope to talk about the uprising of the feminine. I've had this conversation with quite a few of my soul sisters, and it's evident when I look on Instagram, just scrolling through social media, how many more people who are coming into their power. You know, I know a lot of women who are hosting different types of like high priestess events and these witchy groups and all this stuff, and I think that's amazing. And whether or not you identify as someone who's like a witch or a high priestess or any of these sort of terms about like some woman who maybe does spells or different types of rituals, I do think there's something really powerful for women in general to start taking back in whatever term you might need to use. And this has been kind of a challenge for me over the years because I grew up in a very Christian religious home, and so the idea of witches or anything related to that world was considered demonic and not so good. And don't get me wrong, there are lots of witches and people who utilize working with demons or maybe some darker energies. You know, that's where we get a lot of different labels like black witch, white witch, whatever, green witch, all these different things. I think it's really up to each individual to know that they hold their own type of power, their magic, if we want to call it that. And really the magic is the ability to create and shift your reality, your physical reality, by using your intention, using consciousness and focus, and directing your energy to get you that thing that you would like to see. And it doesn't always have to mean like turning someone into a frog or some like horrible curse, though I'm sure there's people that do that. I mean, remember, karma's a bitch, so it might come back at you. But really, this is about how is it that you want to start living in more of your power, having more opportunities of abundance and pleasure in your life. So it doesn't always mean you have to have something physical in your hand, right? But the beauty right now that we're seeing in 2020, things that I've learned this past year is around the healing of the wounded masculine. So the masculine energies being the more like active, purpose-driven sort of energy that's really goal-directed, goal-oriented, you know, so that's like the yang energy. And then we have that feminine energy, the yin, the much more like receptive, sometimes passive, but not always, obviously, just allowing and being in flow. And so what we've seen is over the centuries of time, you mean, whether you want to say it's like around, I guess, I really like to think back to like Adam and Eve, that whole concept of the masculine kind of overpowering, taking control of the feminine, but it just really went into like some dark places, you know, as the centuries went through, and how much women were kind of taken as slaves or taken over from what used to be a much more matriarchal society where women were tended to be the leaders, the ones to really hold together a tribe or a group of people. And mind you, there are still a lot of tribes and people on this earth now that still follow that sort of model, but our Western society has definitely taken on a more patriarchal view. And I don't want to come across as like a feminist, like big, like, burn all the men and do all these horrible things, the patriarchy. I will talk about the patriarchy, but I do believe that this is just part of the cycle of the ebb and flow of life that we have to go through naturally. And now we are in the transition, and that's why so many more women are stepping up and taking their power back. And I say woman, but really it's about like the divine feminine. You know, we're embracing that divine feminine aspect. And I think women have it a bit easier now because we're women. It's easier for us to become receptive, especially in the world that we live in where it's so goal-oriented, right? You work hard, you hustle hard, and you get things done. Like that's just the masculine energy. And so men, now that they're having to also transition into accepting that divine feminine, right, within themselves, because we all have both of these energies within ourselves. They maybe are sometimes struggling because they've been for so long told, like, don't cry, and, you know, big boys, and you got to have balls for this thing, and da-da-da-da-da. And now it's like creating more of a challenge, I think. And this is probably why we have a lot more mental health issues, and men tend to, you know, end their life by suicide way more often than women do. And they try more serious means because they don't feel safe to be vulnerable and open about the emotions that they're feeling, to be in that place of like flow, to be in that place of vulnerability, of emotion, which the divine feminine is about, right? That nurturing and loving place. With the wounded masculine, all the masculine energy that's just been so hard and rough and like so driven to like prove something, it's now shifting into that need to show love and stand up for the self, to show the self-love and nurture the self so that then it can ripple out into the world around. And I really do feel it's important that we each individually start to look within at what balances are we going through, or what imbalances do we have around the masculine and the feminine energies. And so with the divine feminine like coming in, I think we're going to see more and more women claiming these titles of witch and bitch and high priestess and fairies and goddess and all this beautiful language that has for so long been like trampled on, removed from history. You know, we know this has like happened where women have basically been defamed and like demoralized and treated as like horribleness. You know, look at the Salem witch trials, you know, back those 1600s, and just see how much like devastation happened because people were being different. If you're someone that identifies, you know, with the need to really express more of who you are, and it's for so long you've like tried to hide it from others because of persecution. Like I know how that is. I've been there. Still, my parents don't really like me talking about a lot of this stuff. And when I was in grade 4, actually, I ended up getting in trouble for starting a little coven, I guess, whatever you want to call it. I look back at it now, I guess I have a little bit more of an interest in these things back then. But I went to a Catholic school. I guess I somehow got a bunch of people together. There was a few of us. You know, this was around the time that movie The Craft was coming out, which I hadn't even seen, so I don't really know how this was my idea. But I enjoy just spending time. We try to like help each other like levitate and do all these things, right? But one day we got found out somehow, and I got in a little bit of trouble. I guess the Catholic school system doesn't really like witch things in their buildings. So since grade 4, I would say I experienced some form of persecution around my differences, you know. And I was talking with my like twin the other day about this because he's really like, well, people don't need to use the word witch, it's derogatory and da-da-da. And I don't really agree with that. And maybe because I am surrounding myself with lots of powerful women who are really reclaiming that term. And you can find them out there online. Like there's so many beautiful women who are reclaiming it and taking it and turning it into something that is not evil or dark or horrible or harmful. It's just about building themselves up. And I don't really care what term you use, honestly. Remember, labels themselves can have more challenges at times, and then we cling. Ego likes to cling to all this stuff to identify. But if that's going to help you to step into your power, then do it. Call yourself that goddess. Do the high priestess thing. Allow the energy of what that all means that's passed on through like the centuries, through our ancestry, our lineage, right? Deep down within our DNA and energetically being transmitted to us from wherever it's being transmitted, and use that to like stand in your power more. And you'll start to see how like really amazing things can start to unfold in your life, and how powerful you really are to create the world that you want. So yeah, I hope that can kind of give you that encouragement. You're not alone. Reach out if you need support. I am going to pull a card from the lovely Heart Quest deck. I love these from my beautiful soul sister, Amber Rose. She made these cards, and I'm going to just pull one for you. Take what you will with this reading. Woo, let's go. Oh, I don't know why I did that, and then it popped out again. So we got the card Boundaries, and this is a blue colored card, blue chakra, which is the throat chakra. I like that. Look at that door. I don't know, like, I'm not really aware fully of the astrology aspect yet, but I'm seeing, I think it's Pisces too, with the doorway between, you know. But really, what boundaries do you need to set with yourself? If someone's telling you something and you feel like you can't speak your truth, you can't stand in your power, I would really encourage you to start setting boundaries with the simple fact of just saying no. N-O, the most simple word we could ever use. You need to use that word to reclaim your truth, witch or not, and know that no matter what anyone else thinks or what anyone else does, you know what's best for you, and you are the one that can speak that truth. And by setting boundaries, closing the door, not allowing other outside forces to kind of like come in and try to take over, you will live a much more abundant and fulfilled life, because you'll know who you are, right? You will know what you need in life. So I hope that kind of helps support you, and I appreciate you watching this video. Feel free to hit the subscribe button, the little notification bell, so you're updated on the next releases. And also feel free to share this video to anyone you think it might resonate with, and leave your comments if there's a term that you like to use to identify yourself as a witch or whatever that might be. Thanks for watching. Take care.